Hi, welcome to the Dartarian Show. I'm Alexander Dartarian,
And I'm Dominic Sykes.
and today we're doing part two of James D'Angelo Jr.
The Golden State Killer.
Yes, sir. Also, the Vasilla Ransacker, East Area Rapist, East Side Rapist, East Bay Rapist, Creek Bed Killer, Diamond Knot Killer, Night Stalker, Original Night Stalker, Aaron's, and the Golden State Killer.
Man of many names.
Yes. His occupation was a police officer and a mechanic. And believe it or not, he was married and had a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he was arrested, they asked his family. His eldest daughter thought he was the perfect father, and his wife always believed him when he said he had to go
Yeah.
out of town and stuff for
Yeah.
various reasons.
Just they thought it was all normal.
Most
Happy family.
most serial killers' families don't know,
Yeah.
and it's which is kind of weird. So in this part two episode, we're gonna do the investigation, his communications with the people after his crimes,
Yeah.
and
Court.
what led to his arrest, and maybe a couple theories on why he stopped killing from
Yeah.
1986 until he was caught in 2018.
Right.
So let's get into the investigation. Most of the East Side rapists and the original Night Stalkers wasn't even linked together. Like they're perpetrated by the same person until 2001.
So they thought they were a bunch of different people.
Yeah, they just thought like people were just raping and breaking
Crime
in.
was going rampant or whatever.
Yeah, so in 2001, DNA linked them both together to be the same person. They
Right.
still didn't know who it was yet.
But they did figure out that it was one individual and not several,
Yeah.
which is good. But that's like a long time to get that step because it's because of the DNA. Really, it's when DNA came around and became a thing.
Which wasn't
investigating crimes
until
was
the
just
90s,
Yeah.
mid to late 90s.
it
Yeah.
completely changed the game.
Yeah. And some law enforcement officials, particularly the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, sought to link the Galito cases as well, the murders.
Mm-hmm.
The links were primarily due to similarities of MO,
Yep.
because they had already linked one of the original Night Stalker double murders that occurred in Ventura, 40 miles southeast of Galito, with the DNA.
Yep. So they were also trying to figure out, okay, well, we got the rapes connected. Now we're going to see if these murders also.
Yeah, and
fit the
DNA
same.
was popping up and just connecting them all.
Yeah. And of
stuff.
course, he thought of a lot of stuff. Obviously, he was very careful and knew basically what he was doing. He probably didn't even think of DNA. Leaving DNA at the crime scenes because it wasn't a thing.
Well, I mean, he in our last episode we talked about him being an officer of the law. He was in the robbery department and everything. So like he used that experience to basically get away with his crimes.
Right.
He didn't leave any evidence but DNA because he wasn't trained that DNA. I'm sure if he was a cop now, he would leave DNA.
Exactly. Well, criminals now, they'll wear gloves or stuff like that because they know DNA is a thing now. They're careful with that kind of stuff. Back then, they didn't have DNA, so they wouldn't have been, careful. And the cool thing about the DNA is that you can go back and look at something that happened 30, 40 years ago, and be able to link stuff, which I just thought, this is pretty neat.
Yeah, because like once they take the DNA and if they store it properly, it can last for a very, very long time.
Right.
So let's get into the communications of the original Night Stalker and the Golden State Killer. He called them like on March 18th, 1977.
He literally called the police.
The Sacramento County Sheriff received 3 calls from a man claiming to be the East Area rapist. None were recorded. The first 2 calls received at 4:15 and 4:30 p.m. were identical and ended with a caller laughing and hanging up.
Mm.
The final call came at 5 p.m. with the caller saying, "I'm the East Side rapist, and I have my next victim already stocked, and you guys can't catch me."
Wow. He got bored one day and was like,
Well, it's more like a power trip.
yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm so smart, you can't catch me.
Yep.
And this is when he was just raping. He hadn't even gotten to the murders yet.
Right. There was another one that did that too. That was leaving. Well, the BTK killer would leave notes, but
Like letters and stuff in the cereal box.
There's
Jack the Ripper is probably the first and the most infamous for writing letters to the police.
Yeah. And
So
you have the Zodiac, which is also
yeah,
very his basically it was when I think of the Zodiac killer, one of the things that I connect almost immediately is the Riddler from Batman.
yeah, he does have like a Batman. Like if we were
He's like a
looking,
Batman villain, yeah.
if we were looking at like the serial killers like villains from Batman, definitely he would be the Riddler.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know I'm going off on
Ed Kemper.
random subjects.
Ed Kemper would be Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
The next call came December 2nd, 1977. A man claiming to be the rapist called the Sacramento Police Department saying, "You're never going to catch me, East Area rapist, you dumb fuckers. I'm going to fuck you again tonight. Be careful."
God,
The call was
man.
recorded and later released. As with the previous call, the next victim was attacked that night.
Wow.
The next call was received on December 9th, 1977. During the 1977 Christmas season, a previous victim received a phone call that she attributed to her attacker. The caller said, "Merry Christmas, it's me again."
Oh my God, he's freaking creepy.
Yeah, so he's not just calling the police, he's calling his victims.
Yeah,
Like
the ones that survived.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the rapist victims. Shortly before 10 p.m. on December 10th, 1977, Sacramento authorities received two identical calls saying, "I'm going to hit tonight, Walt Avenue."
Wow.
Both were recorded, and the caller was identified as the same person who
Did they
placed
not-
the call on December 2nd.
Did they not like get the call and then if I were, especially with having the previous calls, if I were the cops, I would go to the place that he said he was going to kill at.
I mean, Walt Avenue is a whole
and stake
road.
it out, you know.
Yeah,
and
but you
because
can't-
he says he does it, or he's going to do it, and then he does it in the place that he does it. So going off that pattern, you know, why would they not go to the place and
I don't know how big Walt Avenue is, but if it's like a main street or whatever, I mean, that could be like 5 or 6 miles.
yeah,
So it's, I mean, law enforcement patrols were increased that night,
right.
and at 2:30 a.m., a masked man eluded officers after being seen bicycling on Walt Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, he wasn't
When
kidding.
spotted again at 4:30 a.m., he discarded the bicycle and fled on foot. The bicycle had been stolen.
Man, and they couldn't catch him.
No.
Oh man.
The first known rape victim received a wrong number call asking for Ray on January 2nd, 1978. The call was recorded, and the police suspect that it may be the same caller who had made threatening calls to her later that evening.
Mm-hmm.
That call was also recorded and identified by the victim as the voice of her assailant. The caller said, "Gonna kill you. Gonna kill you. Gonna kill you.
Like a freaking horror movie, dude.
Bitch, 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 bitch. Fucking whore."
Wow.
Yeah.
This dude's got some serious issues.
Yep. That was, oh God. A man claiming to be the East Area rapist called the contact counseling service and said, "I have a problem. I need help because I don't want to do this anymore." After a short conversation, the caller said, "I believe you are tracing this call," and hung up.
So he called the
Counseling service
Yeah,
on January 6th.
Do you think it was an
1978.
actual plea for help, or was he just doing another taunting thing? Like, I don't give a shit, you know, what people think about me, you know, but I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like I need help just to taunt them, you know?
I don't know. That could have been a fake call too. Was there, with these kind of calls and stuff, and if they media-size them, like you get copycat calls
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Like there was this killer in England where one person. They thought it was one person that called,
Right.
and it was a hoax.
Oh man.
But because they interviewed the real killer, and because his voice didn't match the fake call,
hmm
they let him go, and he killed more victims.
Oh no.
Yeah. So like, hoax calls cost people's lives.
Yeah.
So it's really important that don't make fake calls to the police pretending you're a killer.
Yeah.
Like,
for
I
real.
know you want that fame or whatever, or you're bored or whatever, but don't do it because it does cost people lives.
Yeah.
In 1982, the previous victim received a call at her place of work, a Denny's restaurant, during which the rapist threatened to rape her again, according to Contra Costa County investigator Paul Holes. Sorry. The rapist must have changed to patronize the restaurant and recognize his victim there.
hmm
In 1991, a previous victim received a phone call from a perpetrator and spoke with him for 1 minute. She could hear a woman and children in the background, leading to the speculation he had a family.
Oh wow.
So he's calling after he stopped killing. He stopped killing in 1986. So he called.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess when he got that urge, he just called somebody.
Yeah. So instead of going out and killing and raping again, he just calls previous victims to try to get that thrill of you know the same that they get for the trophies or whatever. They have that revisiting
that power trip. Yeah.
So maybe that's why he stopped killing. Maybe that's
one of the theories.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The final call was on April 6th, 2001. One day after an article in the Sacramento Bee linked to the original Night Stalker and the East Area Rapist, a victim of the rapist received a call from him. He asked, "Remember when we played?"
Oh.
So he saw in the news that they were linked. So he's like, let me make a call. So they did not have him as a suspect.
Like at all.
At all.
And they didn't.
This investigation of this process, the only one who really tried to find this person, in my opinion, is Patton Oswalt's wife.
Yeah, she wrote a book about it.
Yeah, well, she was writing a book. She never finished it. Patton Oswalt and another ghostwriter helped finish it, but yeah. So literally, I mean,
okay. So how did they find him? I know they used the DNA by getting DNA from a family member and matching it up and all that stuff. But what led to that train of even looking into that part there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, after it wasn't until 2016 they started getting some breaks.
Mm-hmm.
On June 15, 2016, the FBI released further information related to the crimes, including new composite sketches and crime details. A $50,000 reward was also announced.
Wow.
The initiative included a national database to support law enforcement's investigating of the crimes to handle tips and information.
Yeah.
Eventually, through the use of genetic genealogy searching a GED match, investigators identified distant relatives of D'Angelo, including family members directly related to his great-great-great-great-grandfather,
right,
dating back to the 1800s.
So, but how do they link it to him? That's what I'm curious about.
They all have markers. Based on this information, investigators built about 25 different family trees. The tree that eventually linked D'Angelo alone contained approximately 1,000 people.
Wow. How did they filter that out?
Over the course of a few months, investigators used other clues like age, sex, and place of residence to rule out suspects populating these trees, eliminating suspects one by one until only D'Angelo remained.
Wow.
So they
went through his entire family tree, like
1,000 people, and then was like, okay, well, he had to be of this age, this sex, this obviously would have to be male.
Out of
1,000 people, they narrowed it down to one person.
That's crazy.
During the investigation, several people were considered and later eliminated as suspects.
Okay, so once they pretty much figured out it was D'Angelo, they just how did they get his DNA? Did they get a warrant and go and get it from him and match it there, or?
Basically, what they did was they routed it through a trash.
Okay.
Yeah. Brett Glasby from Goleta was considered a suspect by Santa Barbara County investigators. He was murdered in Mexico in 1982 before the murder of Janelle Cruz, eliminating him as a suspect. Those murders happened afterwards.
Right.
Paul Cornfed Snyder,
Corn-fed Snyder. Oh my god.
a high-ranking member of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Of course. Corn-fed skinhead.
Was living in Orange County when the Harringtons, Manuela Whithone and Janelle Cruz were killed. A DNA test cleared him in the 90s.
Mm.
Joe Alsip, a friend and business partner of the victim Lyman Smith, Alsip's pastor said that Alsip had confessed to him during a family counseling session.
Mm.
Alsip was arraigned for the Smith murders in 1982, but the charges were later dropped, and his innocence was confirmed by DNA testing in 1997.
But he was in jail for nothing.
Well, the charges were later dropped. They charged him. They didn't.
They didn't actually put him in jail. I was gonna say if he had been in jail.
Yeah, they would have cleared him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But in cases like that, can they sue?
Yes.
And they get money
they
for
do.
that.
I mean, when you sue a state or the federal government, they can tie it up in court for like years.
Yeah, but dude, they take away, especially if it's like, okay, say like I get charged for murder I didn't commit, right?
Mm-hmm.
They finally figured it out, but I've already been in jail for like 20 years.
Most of the time, it's settled out of court.
I know I've seen a dude recently on like I think it was either America's Got Talent or one of those shows like that had
that he was charged with a murder or something. Or he was charged with the crime, and he spent 25 years in prison.
Yeah, and then I was like, that's 25 years of your life you can't get back.
Yeah, most of the time they do. If you sue them, they do settle out of court. I know this one guy, he got charged for, I think, like possession of marijuana, and he was like in jail for 10 years.
That's bullshit.
And he got out and sued, and they settled it. It was like $3.2 million.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'd sue.
Yeah.
100%.
So would I, man. That's like, like if you're in jail for like more than a year, I believe.
Yeah.
Just a year, like over a year, like that that changes your life forever because
real.
like you get basically. I mean, I don't know if it's like the movies or I've seen like 60 Days In or whatever.
Well,
on TV.
there's a bunch of people that talk about their experiences in jail.
Yeah, like it seems like it's a very difficult time
to adjust to outside. Yeah, for sure.
Outside and inside. I mean, like the rapes happen.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're accused of a crime that you didn't commit, and if it's like something bad, like murdering a child or something, they're going to kill you.
Yep. All right, sorry. Didn't mean to.
On April 24th, 2018, Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies arrested D'Angelo, and he was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances.
Mm.
On May 10th, the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office charged D'Angelo with 4 additional counts of first-degree murder.
Well, adding the total to
12.
Yeah.
Identification of D'Angelo had begun 4 months earlier with officials led by Detective Paul Holes and FBI lawyer Steve Kramer uploaded the killer's DNA from the Ventura County rape kit to the personal genomics website GEDmatch.
Wow.
The website identified 10 to 20 people who had the same great-great-great-great-grandparents as the Great Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
A team of 5 investigators working with genealogist Barbara Ray Venter used this list to construct a large family tree. From this tree, they established 2 suspects. One was rolled out by a relative's DNA test, leaving D'Angelo as the main suspect.
Yep.
On April 18th, a DNA sample was surreptitiously collected from the door handle of D'Angelo's car.
Mm.
Another sample was later collected from a tissue found in D'Angelo's curbside garbage can.
Yep.
I was right about the garbage can. But that's most of the time, because once you throw stuff out and it goes to the curb, it's free game.
Yep, pretty much.
Both were matched to the samples associated with the Golden State Killer crimes.
Yep.
Since D'Angelo's arrest, some commentators have raised concerns about the ethics of the secondary use of personal identified information.
What?
Basically, like, those 23andMe sites, when you put your DNA in there, they can take that DNA and use it to charge you for a crime.
Yeah.
But in my personal opinion, I think everyone
absolutely
should have to give their DNA anyways.
I mean, if you don't do anything wrong, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I make the argument like, well, they can frame you, and I was just like, okay,
well,
like,
yeah, they could
frame you, yes, but
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they could frame you, but I mean, like, look, how many rapes will be solved?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. Everyone who's ever been raped, came forward, and
they get the rape kit out.
Yeah, they get the rape kit out.
DNA,
they
and
give
then
all of those
instantly match it with
women, men, and children closure.
Yeah,
and justice.
Exactly. Well, if literally everybody on the planet, right, has to give their DNA, then everybody's DNA is in the database.
Yeah, I think,
and you can instantly match that DNA with.
I don't think it would stop rape, but I think it would stop some.
Well, you'd have to not only change that system too, but you'd also have to you'd have to completely change the way the prison system works, because it's just not. It wouldn't work.
I don't think like. All right, this is going to be on a tangent or whatever, but possession, like under the influence of drugs or possession of drugs, I don't think that you should go to jail.
Right.
I think they should either put you in a drunk tank,
a rehab
or
center,
just take your drugs,
some kind of rehab.
Put you in a rehab. I don't think you should go to jail.
Like lockdown rehab.
For any, like, if you're trafficking large amounts of drugs, yeah, I think you should go to jail.
Right.
But like, if you just have like a bag of weed on you or a thing of coke,
well,
like
weed's slowly getting.
Yeah. I understand weed's mostly legal places, for places, but like an 8-ball of coke, I don't think you should go to jail for all that long. I don't think you should just they should take it. Put you.
Well, it also depends on like what if you just had it, or if you had it on you while you were doing a violent crime or something like that, it'd be different.
Yeah, that would be different. D'Angelo made the confession of sorts after his arrest that cryptically referred to the inner personality named Jerry.
What?
Most serial killers confess like this.
Yeah.
Who had?
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't even think about that. They do.
It disassociates them.
Exactly. They disassociate with it. It's like they're talking in the third person.
Yeah. It's just a way that they can be like, oh, I still didn't do anything wrong. It was Jerry. I didn't do it. It was Jerry.
Didn't even think about that.
Who had forced them to commit the wave of crimes that ended abruptly in 1986. According to Sacramento County prosecutor Thean Ho, D'Angelo said the following. I thought you were going to say something about that.
I was thinking about it.
The following while alone in a police interrogation room after his arrest in April 2018. I didn't have the strength to push him out. He made me. He went with me. It was like my head. I mean, he's a part of me. I didn't want to do these things. I pushed Jerry out and had a happy life. I did all the things. I destroyed all those lives. So now I've got to pay the price. This dude's full of shit.
Wow.
Although, that's one. I guess that's another theory. Why he stopped.
Maybe he managed to get rid of Jerry.
Yeah,
or he got on medicine or something. Maybe he went and saw a therapist finally and got.
Yeah, but if you tell a therapist that you've murdered people, it's they're
he might not have told her or that the therapist that he was killing. He could have just said something about the voice or something, that the voice is telling him to do stuff. Then he got medicated for it and didn't need to kill anymore. But that also, doesn't really fit the calling the victim.
A lot of people mistake that mental illness does not inherently make you violent.
Right. No.
Actually, the high percentage of mental illness is nonviolent.
Right.
So, D'Angelo could not be charged with rapes or the robberies, as the statute of limitations has expired for those offenses, which kind of sucks.
Wow.
That sucks, especially with the rape. I don't think there
should be. Can you imagine the family?
There should not be a statutory limitation on rape.
No.
I'm sorry. That should be like murder. It should be lifetime. But he was charged with 13 counts of murder and 13 counts of kidnapping. D'Angelo was arraigned in Sacramento on August 23rd, 2018. In November 2018, prosecutors from 6 involved counties collectively estimated that the cases could cost the taxpayers $20 million and last 10 years.
Whoa. God.
Yeah. At an April 10th, 2019 court proceeding, prosecutors announced that they would seek the death penalty,
For sure.
and the judge ruled that cameras could be allowed inside the courtroom during the trial.
Mm-hmm.
On March 4th, 2020, D'Angelo offered to plead guilty if the death penalty was taken off the table, which was not accepted at that time.
Mm-hmm.
On June 29th, as part of a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder in special circumstances, including murder committed during robberies and rapes.
That pisses me off so bad. You know, the ones that fucking kill, you know, a bunch of people, right?
Mhm.
And then they finally get caught and they get sentenced, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to die. I'm gonna plead guilty, you know, so that I can get out of the death penalty and just, you know, live my life in jail." That's bullshit.
Yeah,
shouldn't
there's
be
some
able
serial
to-
killers who do that, and there's also some serial killers that want to die, like Ed Kemper.
There shouldn't be a
Wanted
plea
to
deal
be-
for that crap.
Yeah, wanted to be executed by death by torture.
Yeah, that's different. That's a
It was
little bit
weird,
different.
but I think he was full of crap too.
It makes me mad that they can even that they.
They can even make that deal, yeah.
Yes, because it's just
But I mean, yeah. But if he would have got the death penalty, he'd still, like, as old as he is.
yeah, he still got away.
He still
with,
would have died before he got the
for
death
sure.
penalty.
Yeah.
Because you got appeals and everything. On August 21st, 2020, D'Angelo received multiple consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo offered a brief apology after listening to days of pre-sentencing victim impact statements.
Yeah.
I've listened to all of your statements, each one of them, and I'm truly sorry to
No, he
everyone
isn't.
I've hurt.
No, he's not. He ain't sorry.
Yeah, he's sorry he got caught.
Yeah, exactly.
So in November 2020, D'Angelo was transferred to North Kern State Prison.
Hmm.
And as of February 2021, D'Angelo was incarcerated in protective custody
Oh God.
at California State Prison.
Yeah, because he's an ancient old man now.
Yeah, and he would definitely be killed because they do not like
Yeah, that's,
women killers.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. The fact that he basically got away with it. I mean, yeah, he's in jail, but he lived pretty much his entire
life
free.
Yep, he's 76
It's ridiculous
right now. So he has 3 children, and she
Can only imagine
divorced
how-
him when he was arrested.
Yeah, for sure. I can only imagine how they feel about the whole thing.
So he has 12 life sentences plus 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why plus 8 years?
the random 8 years. It's because of the charges. Like they all have individual things.
So I wouldn't say that he's the most prolific killer because he only had 13 body counts, but
the
he's
fact that he
probably
got
the
away
most
with it-
prolific rapist.
Well, yeah, and the fact that he got away with it for as long as
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
did. He lasted longer than any of the other ones.
No, Zodiac still hasn't been caught.
That's true too. Yeah, I forgot about the Zodiac.
So the Zodiac has not been caught.
He's probably dead.
Oh, 100%.
He's been dead.
I don't know.
probably.
But, going back to the theories, I forgot about the theories. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
theories, let's hear it.
One of the theories is that he had a family and it took up his time,
Yeah.
and the phone calls kind of sustained him. Another theory is what you said, that he got a medicine and the urgings went away.
Right.
But the third theory is that something happened to him to physically, because it was a hard job because he had to subdue the man.
Right.
And a lot of multiple times the men have fought back and hurt him,
Yeah.
and
Maybe he got to the point
where he couldn't control the man anymore.
Yeah, so he didn't want to risk.
Yeah, so or he had too many close calls.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because if that was the case, he just picked easier victims.
That, and I mean, if you think about it, because like his MO would have to change as the older he got. His victims would have to get older.
Yeah.
So he could subdue them longer and stuff. But the DNA would have caught him. So he hasn't killed anybody since 1986
That's crazy.
that we know of. That we haven't found. He
I
might have
like-
changed his MO completely and just started
My-
killing prostitutes.
I think the best theory is the fact that he had the family and the phone calls sustained him. I think is probably the
Yeah.
most logical one.
Or he probably hurt himself, couldn't kill anymore, and
Yeah.
the phone calls had to suffice.
I wonder if there are any other
Or
killers out
maybe-
there that started killing and then stopped.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's like Dennis Rader. He stopped forever
Yeah.
too. I mean, there's some serial killers that they can just not.
Maybe it's like I don't know. That's weird.
I just think that like the fact that
we
he
do
was
not know
getting
enough.
away with it, like
Yeah.
that kind of sustained him too.
We do not know enough about, in my opinion, about serial killers and how they work. And
I think that's why they're so fascinating because we don't know how they
Yeah.
work.
I mean, I'm sure there's because they have what do they call it? Brain doctors.
Neurologist,
No. For psychology.
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
That's the psychologist and psychiatrist. The only difference is that
But I mean, the ones that study the psychopaths specifically.
I don't
Is
have
there
no idea.
a specific profession for that, or
Psychology or psychologist. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
really?
Psychiatry.
I thought there was a specialization though where they. Hang on. a
There
second.
probably is.
You keep going. I'm gonna look into it real quick.
Well, I was going to announce our yearly giveaway.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So what we do is every year we give away a thing of merch. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so the winner this year is April from Texas.
April from Texas.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you for being a listener, and we appreciate you following us and interacting with us and everything.
Absolutely.
Uh,
We always like our feedback, and
yeah, absolutely. So congratulations, April. We're going to send that out to you as soon as possible. And thanks for being a listener. We
thanks indeed.
greatly appreciate it. Next year, if you guys want to get in on that contest, just become a follower on Instagram, subscriber on YouTube. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you get put in twice.
Yes.
So,
The
Double-
more times your name's in there, the more likely
Yeah.
you're going to get picked.
and each tier gets you the first tier, the $5 one, it gets you your name in there extra one time, and then the higher tier gets you put in 3 times.
Mhm.
So and we might have more giveaways throughout the year. We
Yeah,
don't know
might be
yet.
More than one. Coming up.
So and for different things. So the Patreon, if you want to get your names in there more, we also lower the prices on a lot of our stuff on the store. So if you guys want to, get some merch, some Dartarian show merch, definitely get that because we lower the prices for that. And also October is going to be our spooky month. We're gonna have a lot of we're gonna have some great episodes. Gonna have about 5 spooky themed episodes.
It's the best time.
Yeah, and I think Ashton's gonna make us some exclusive merch,
Ooh, Halloween merch.
Halloween merch, and our
Sweet.
logo might change
All right.
for Halloween.
Excited for
So
that.
yeah, I'm excited too. I'm super excited.
By the way, it is a forensic psychologist or behavioral analyst is what I was looking
Oh, okay. I was just like, I don't know, like a psychologist. So yeah. So congratulations, April. That definitely and we're gonna share a picture. Hopefully, she'll take a picture and send it to us so we can put that up
that
on
on the
Instagram and
website,
stuff. So do you have anything else you want to talk about, or?
No, I think we did pretty good with this figuring out why he did what he did and
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Golden State Killer. That was part 2, and next episode we're going to be talking about Urban Legends Canada.
Indeed.
Going to the great wilderness of the northern country of like next to America.
Yeah.
North of America. I don't know what it's called. What's the thing called? Is it the Great Wilderness? What is it?
Canada?
Yeah. What's the country's motto?
I don't know.
I don't know either. All right. Well, we'll see you next episode for Urban Legends Canada.
Thanks for listening.